right, folks. Welcome to Nino's Corner.tv. Boy, I got a good show today. I got Juan Savin join us today to give us the insight on why they're putting up fencing around the White House, around the Treasury. We're going to talk about sleeper cells being activated in America. We're going to talk about the MAGA divide. What the hell's happening to these people? Why this sudden turn on Trump? Are they being activated? Are they sincere in their beliefs? Are they sincerely wrong, as Juan would like to say? So there's a lot going on, and we're going to talk about the details within the big, beautiful bill. So we're going to cover all of that today, folks. First of all, hit the notifications button, folks. Hit the notifications buttons, like, share this video. Help me help you. Also, if you're watching this on X or you're watching this on Facebook, it will be cut and will just be on YouTube. So please try to follow me just on YouTube. It helps with my ads and sponsors and things like that, because I got to put food on the table, baby. Oh, yeah. All right. So first, Venmo, D-Rod 1977, D-Rod 1977, When the Lights Go Out. When the Lights Go Out on Amazon. It's a book I wrote all by myself. And I had an editor for the grammatical errors because I make a lot of grammatical errors, but I wrote that book in a month's time on my iPhone. Also, my mom's book, The Mexican Mix. Please leave an honest review for that one. Would much appreciate it. Folks, Ringside with Nino. Ringside with Nino is fire. This month, we're doing it on Thursday, just to mix it up for the people, my audience. Ringside with Nino is Thursday, the second Thursday this month, and the last Thursday, where we meet, the whole Black Sheep community meets, and we war game everything that's happening politically, globally, the entire thing. And it's we get a good 50, 60 people in there at a time. Everyone gets to ask questions. Everyone gets to war game with each other. We network the whole thing. It's amazing. That's Ringside with Nino. The General's tent this month, Colonel Towner Watkins is going to be the general on July 24th, and then I'm going to see if we can do a double-header General's tent this month with Juan. So Juan, I'm going to ask Juan in just a moment if he can be the next general after Colonel Towner, probably July 31st, see if he has time to come in at 5 p.m. So we're going to have a big General's tent, 2 General's tent this month, if Juan agrees to it. So, folks, here we go. It's go time. Now, the Iran thing looks like it's been neutralized. A lot of people are anticipating something big to happen July 4th. Is it going to be the passing of the big, beautiful bill? Could it be a terror attack? We don't know. There's a lot of things in the air right now, and nobody knows, despite what anyone tells you. But the MAGA divide is no longer a conspiracy. The MAGA divide, folks, has now been... It's out in the open. There's a lot of podcasters out there turning on Trump, disagreeing with Trump, and it's healthy. Let me say this again. It's healthy to disagree. It's good to be skeptical. I'm not against anybody who disagrees with Trump, but when you start, when you're backing Trump and then the next thing you know, you're pointing fingers at him, calling him names, like, who are you? What was your purpose what was your real purpose? I have questions. That's all I'm saying. And folks, yes, I'm in a hotel room once again, and I'm about to get loud like I always do, just for a slight moment. You might want to turn it down or turn it up, baby. Yeah. Coming at you live from the apocalypse, folks. Oh, yeah. Let's go. All right. So the MAGA divide. No longer conspiracy. It's a reality. We're watching it in real time right now. And what I once thought could have been scripted with Elon Musk and Trump, I thought, okay, they kind of scripted that. They did that. It kind of prematurely started the protests. We got ahead of the ball with that. Trump handed Elon the key. Maybe Elon is dark MAGA. Juan's going to elaborate on that when I bring him on in just a moment. But now I'm starting to think, okay, they're still fighting here. They're like throwing threats. Now Trump's saying that he's going to deport Elon. Elon's saying that Steve Bannon needs to go to jail for life. He's going to go to jail for a long period of time. So now that I'm giving it another look, I'm wondering, okay, what else is the plan here? What else? What is this MAGA civil war? Why is this happening? But so the big question to me is this scripted? Is this scripted, or is this just all out chaos? And I'm going to ask Juan about this when he jumps on right now. It seems like, I don't know, certain personalities are being activated at such a time as this. Maybe they have some skin in the game for 2028. You know, I like Candace Owens. I like to listen to Candace Owens, but what is the deal right now? She seems so unhinged in everything that she's doing. But I don't know. Many of them could be sincere or sincerely wrong. We've seen Elon Musk throw Donald under the bus before, and then shortly after the infamous Epstein claim, he came out and apologized. But during that Epstein claim, it triggered a kind of civil unrest in the country. Like shortly after that, everything kicked off. You saw the civil unrest happen, the protest, the civil unrest, that all kicked off. Then it led right into Iran, and then here they are at it again. So my question is, scripted? Is it scripted or sincere? Now we all have the fight with the likes of Elon, Bannon, Candace Owens, and Donald Trump, to the point Candace is airing out Donald Trump's personal phone calls that he made to her, airing them out in the public. Very petty stuff, folks. I got to tell you, social media is a circus. It's an absolute circus. I'm even watching the boxing drama play out with Ryan Garcia, De La Hoya, Canelo. And, you know, there was a time when there was a mystique and an aura about a fighter. When they'd go into training camp, you wouldn't hear anything. The only trash talking you would hear is at the press conferences, and then they get in the fight. Now everything's aired out on social media. And to me, it's petty, it's ridiculous, and it takes away from everything. And to see it in the political realm with the inside fighting with Trump and Elon and Candace and all them, it looks really petty and it looks really pathetic in my opinion. But now Elon is claiming Bannon will go to jail for a very long time. Trump is flirting with the idea that Elon Musk could be deported. It's complete madness in MAGA, folks. The civil MAGA war begins. But why? Why is this happening? Hopefully Juan Savin sheds some light on why this is happening. So let me get into this. Candace Owens says she's embarrassed she supported Trump. This is her words. Conservative commentator Candace Owens said Tuesday she's embarrassed after campaigning for President Trump during the 2024 presidential election cycle. He's been a chronic disappointment, she says, and I feel embarrassed that I told people to go out and vote for him because this wasn't going to happen. And it is happening, Owens said during an appearance on the Piers Morgan Uncensored. Owens was a staunch supporter of Trump during his first White House bid and spoke highly of the leader after his exit from the Oval Office. However, she's criticized his recent decision to engage in the Israel-Iran conflict. Folks, I don't like that either. And I know and I'm hoping that Israel is going to be saved for last. But yeah, I don't like the unfailing, blind support of Israel. That's just my opinion. So I agree with her on this. But I have faith, and I feel like there's an operation, and I believe there's some things that Israel has to do for America before they're done with. But let's see what Juan has to say. This was not Trump's decision. It was Bibi Netanyahu's decision, Owens told Morgan, referring to Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and that is the reason that he did it. We're very aware that Israel is dictating our foreign policy, and we'd now like that to stop, she says. Owens said there was no imminent threat to the U.S., slamming Trump's Sunday strikes. Maybe Juan can discuss this a little further. While Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard and others have alleged Iran was nowhere near obtaining a nuclear weapon capability, which the president adamantly denied. I don't care what Gabbard said, Owens says. I think we were very close to having one. So, Trump said this. I don't care what Gabbard said, Trump says. I think we were very close to having one, Trump told reporters Tuesday on Air Force One. Then you got Elon Musk. Elon Musk versus Steve Bannon. The Steve Bannon, Elon Musk war explodes, MAGA divided, with prison and deportation threats. Musk suggests Trump ally Bannon is going back to prison for a very long time. Now, I'm trying to get a hold of some of Bannon's people to see what the hell's going on. This is news to me. So Elon Musk on Tuesday suggested that President Donald Trump's former advisor and close ally, Steve Bannon, will return to prison as tensions between Trump and Musk flare back up like a hemorrhoid. One of the biggest opponents of the former Department of Government Efficiency head in Trump's camp is Bannon, who was ahead of the curve in attacking Musk. When reminded by a user that Bannon urged Trump to nationalize SpaceX last month, Musk said that he was going to prison once again. Bannon is going back to prison, this time for a very long time, Musk says. When Bannon suggested Trump nationalize SpaceX in June, Musk called him a criminal. It is unclear for what crime Musk is suggesting Bannon would be sent to prison for, but the assertion that it would be for a long time implies that Trump would not have the ability or desire to pardon him this time around. So what does he know that we don't know? And I'm going to try to get into that with Juan, and I'm going to try to get a hold of some people that know Bannon. I could probably just text Bannon, but I don't think he would tell me. I don't know if he'd tell me. Maybe I will. Maybe I will text him. Trump threatens to deport Elon Musk by using Doge. Doge is a monster that might eat Elon. President Donald Trump indicated Tuesday morning that he is open to deporting Elon Musk amid his renewed battle with the Tesla boss. Speaking with reporters ahead of the flight to Florida on Tuesday, the president was asked about whether he would consider deporting the South African mogul. We'll have to take a look, Trump said. We might have to put Doge on Elon. So he's going to turn Doge on Elon. So this is when I think to myself, this can't be real. This to me, this just seems scripted, folks. I would have bet all my money at Nino's Casino that this was scripted the first time. But now that this is continuing, there really seems to be some animosity and hard feelings between these men. And I've always said in the very beginning on my shows, and you can go back, they're all time-stamped, that, you know, these are both megalomaniacs. These are both men with very large egos. And when you have very large egos, folks, they seem to clash. They will always clash. So to me, I think that's what we're seeing here, folks. I think we're seeing a battle of egos. And before I bring Juan Savin on to the program, I'm gonna give people a chance to leave X and to leave Facebook and go to my YouTube right now. We're about to cut the feed. Not yet. I'm going to read one more article, but start heading over to YouTube and make your voices loud in the chat. Help me help you. So get to YouTube from Facebook and X right now because we're about to cut the feed before I bring on Juan Savin. Musk vows to back Trump's nemesis and their feud explodes. Elon Musk has promised to donate to Rep. Thomas Massey's re-election campaign as the Kentucky Republican faces down the wrath of Donald Trump. Yeah. You guys like the way I read the news, by the way? I try to make it entertaining, folks. I try my hardest. The world's richest man responded with a simple me on X after a user asked who else would support Massey's 2026 re-election bid. As Musk feuds with the president enters proxy war territory. Massey has long been a thorn in Trump's side, frequently voting against his legislative priorities, notably his one big, beautiful bill, and publicly opposing the decision to launch airstrikes on Iran. So it really does look like Elon is turning on Trump. That's just what it looks like to me. Now, add that in with the fact that Elon is pretty much high all the time and DARPA funded. You know, if you really look at Elon and his background, he's really a black cat, maybe turned gray, but maybe he was helping Trump because he thought, hey, I'm going to get a lot of deals. There's going to be a lot of things in it for me to help Trump get elected. And then Trump used him like a dirty washcloth, folks, a dish rag. Maybe that's what happened here, and Elon's starting to feel a little bit used. I don't know. But I think Elon was probably maybe thinking to himself, I'm going to get some big deals out of this. And he didn't. I mean, he did go down as a patriot. He helped Trump get elected. But now, could Doge turn on Elon? Could that happen? We're gonna ask Juan all these questions and more. All right, folks, we are now going to cut the feed from Facebook and X. So get to YouTube right now. And Juan's about to come on in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, baby. Juanito, can you hear me?
Yeah, Juan. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What do you think, Juan? I do these shows all by myself.
It's an amazing thing. It's you do a great job. I mean, well, you get people want to get up in the morning and they need a little bit of kick in the ass sometimes, and so here you come, and that nothing wrong with that. Of course, for me, I didn't go to sleep because I was up all night on stuff. So I'm not having to wake up. I'm trying to decompress a little bit. But
well, Juanito, you've been real busy. I try to keep in contact with you, and I wish you would tell my audience the way you speak to me on the phone. Sometimes you're just directed to the point. Be mindful. It is YouTube, so we got to be a little careful. We will go to ninoscorner.tv after this and follow up on on all the details and everything that we missed on YouTube. But Juan, also, I wanted to ask you, will you be a general in the general's tent this month, July 31st, 5 p.m., if you can make it?
Yeah, depending on where I'm at, I'm pretty sure I'll be where I can have internet. I'll be out of the country, but yeah. I
have Colonel Towner Watkins coming on the general's tent, and then I wanted to bring you on right after her. So, because I got a feeling, this summer is going to be pretty hot. There's a lot of things that are going to materialize. And
shoot.
Yeah. So that's why I want to bring you on. There you go.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, jeez.
So
July is going to live up to, the high temperature month. Yeah, it'll be epic.
Yeah, Kim Clement, strange July. Is there any truth to that?
Well, I mean, I think we can wait to see, but I think people may very well remember that every year every year that Trump's in office is going to be one more anomaly after another. This is not, we just won't be able to compare these years really with any other president's years, really, because this is the culmination of hundreds of years of building sororities and back channel and secret handshake stuff. And remember, Trump didn't come up through the ranks. So I mentioned the other day, somebody was asking me about books that like a top 10 or something. I mentioned Immanuel Velikovsky's Worlds in Collision, and his theory that Venus was actually a comet, got caught in Jupiter's orbit and then got pulled out of Jupiter's orbit and caused all sorts of chaos in the solar system before landing in this lower orbit around the sun between the Earth and Mercury. But it's like a ping pong ball, a cue ball bouncing through the China shop. And that's Trump in the political realm. He's coming in and he's bouncing all through these various areas that were all settled. Everything was cool. We just, we played the political game. He's coming in and just completely
he's like a bull
demolishing everything.
Like a bull in a China shop.
That's exactly, well, he's a cue ball in a China shop. And of course, look at yesterday, the last official day where USAID has been is the agency of our government. USAID, the history of USAID as a functionary of CIA in the 75 church committee hearings, the head of the director of the CIA at the time, Webster, said that concerning the South American operations of USAID, and everybody could imply it was everywhere, that there wasn't a single employee of USAID in South America who wasn't actually working for the CIA. So,
That's insane.
when you think of Kennedy saying he wanted to smash the CIA into 1,000 pieces, okay, and scatter the pieces of the four winds. Well, at the control or the functionary side, this was this hidden component for decades and decades and decades and decades of those people behind the scenes with a little tongue in cheek, like they're just here to help you. And yet they were presiding over operations that ultimately ended up in the killing of millions of people, arguably.
So Juan, let
In
me ask you this.
Indonesia, USAID, which Obama's supposed mama worked for, Stanley Dunham, she was doing social studies. And amazingly, all the groups that she was doing social studies on were singled out where millions of people in Indonesia were killed in the middle 60s. And she was just there helping people. No, she wasn't. She was there documenting which groups they wanted to kill and
Juan,
which ones they didn't.
what's in this big beautiful bill, man? Like, is it like, so what Daniel Brinkley came on and said it's effectively going to end America Incorporated. Any truth to that?
Well, one of the things that everybody, I think, seems to want to be able to do is whatever's happening, it's the end. There's no middle ground. There's no process. It's just almost everything's got to be instant. It's going to blow up. It's all done. It's history. It helps to seal a pathway towards cutting some things and entering other things. So let me say it this way. The cure can't be worse than the disease. So you have to maintain for this huge ship of state of America. I like to use the allegory that we've been pirated. Pirates have taken control of the helm of the ship. And we're in the process of regaining control of the ship. We had some control in the engine room, remote locations, but now we're going right to the helm and taking control of the helm of the ship of state. And we have to maintain hull speed. We're in very dangerous waters all over the world. There's reefs, there's shoals, storm going on. You could get bounced into something that would destroy the country in a heartbeat. So even in the course of retaking control of the ship of state, we can't suddenly have no engine, no rudder control. You have to have a certain momentum. Otherwise, you turn the wheel and nothing happens. The boat has to keep moving. And the danger for America all along has been that some fix, while they're fixing it, the boat's drifting with the winds and the tides and everything else into the reefs, and we end up getting destroyed. Very dangerous water. So with the bill, it's like cutting off the flow of money to USAID. You didn't cut everything down in an instant. It may feel like that to a lot of the people involved, but and to cut certain ties and regain others. Going by Bannon, who, by the way, I have he's a great friend. We disagree on a handful of things, but so many of the things that we're talking about, he and I agree precisely on. He's a great friend. We've known each other all the way back to the Art Bell days, and who is also both of our friends. But the issue is this. In the course of switching control back to constitutional control of the country, there's a whole bunch of things that have to be done. And the cure can't be worse than the disease. You mentioned something in your prelude into this that I'll tie to the budget stuff. President Trump is very much so into allegory and sending signals and messages. Why? Because our enemies love their symbology. Trump's enemies, the people that have kind of hijacked the country. Anybody who doesn't believe that's a huge part of how they work and operate, go look at the layout, the names, the angles of the streets of Washington, D.C. Go into any search engine and punch in occult, which means hidden, Washington, D.C. And you'll see that the whole federal metropolis is built around symbology, with the center of it being the penis of Osiris, which is the Washington Monument in these cults' way of looking at things. So Trump, see, a lot of the group that Trump is fighting, it's a religion, literally. And so they use symbology as though they're stakes in the ground and they own it because they've got their, placard, their sign, their whatever, on every street corner and building and stuff like that. So Trump has communicated right in plain sight, right back at them. And when you talk about, a constitutional republic versus the corporation or something, what did Trump do? He has, on the 250th anniversary of the Army, he has them all show up. They've got all the various eras of the Army represented, people, soldiers, showing that. And by the way, all of those soldiers that participated in that, they got a history lesson themselves. So they're well versed now on how we got to here, because they showed up in the various eras of the Army and in the attire like that. Excuse me. So what does Trump do right after the big parade and fireworks, I might add? He plants not one but two flags, 88 feet tall. Everything has meaning, right there on the front lawn of the White House. Who knew that was coming? And one to the north and one to the south. And why two? Because he's beginning the second part of his time in public life, and going all the way back to when he came down the escalator, June 14th of 2015. And announced his candidacy. And by the way, just 2 days ago or whatever, it was the 10th anniversary, 10th day since he had done that. I was writing an article.
Wow, Alex is showing the flag right there. That's an enormous flag. That is amazing.
He's sending a message. Okay, so now think about that. He's sending messages. This is where I was going. He wants everybody to see it, but now you have to kind of read between the lines. Things that Trump does, they have an overt, obvious, impact, meaning, gee, it's all beautiful, the parade and everything else. But when we plant the flag a lot of times, think of Mount Suribachi during the Second World War. And even though the island hadn't been completely won, after this massive battle, our guys, for symbology for themselves and to the Japanese, went out at great risk and they raised the flag at the top of the mountain. We've won the hill. We've victorious. It's ours now. And the fact that they could be safe enough to do it and nobody could stop them was a very big deal. In fact, they did it, and then it was so epic that the photographer asked him to redo the scene. So that the actual picture you see is a redo a little while later of that scene to burn it into people's minds. To burn it into people's minds. It was a press thing to send home, to let all the moms and dads and wives and kids be able to, cheer them on. It was propaganda, but it was not propaganda for just some salacious reason. It was to give people some sense of hope. Things are going is favoring us, and so they capture the hill. Look at what Trump's done. He's having a huge battle at that moment over the budget. He's brought the army in and taken control of the city symbolically. Nobody could stop him. They did their fireworks. He raises the flags, not one, but two. This is part two in this whole Trump. And after the dust settles from that, he does another symbolic thing. He puts the security fencing around the White House, and then in all the various
that was going to be my next
in Washington, D.C. Yeah, with all the buildings in Washington, D.C., the Supreme Court just passed or just gave a decision on these district court judges that, the left, the Democrats are just furious about, because they said that these judges all over the country can't make a decision that affects the whole country and stop Trump from being able to function at the White House. Like the district court judges are more powerful than the presidency. If that was the case, Trump shouldn't have run for president. He should have run for district court judge. Okay. And they're trying to override him on key stuff. So, and stop and thwart things that he's doing. So the Supreme Court said, no, you district court judges can't do what you're doing, and that's not constitutional. Why didn't Trump, to defend the Supreme Court in the course of this decision, put the fencing around the Supreme Court? What about, Congress that's fighting over this bill? Why didn't he put the fencing around Congress? No, he only did one other building, and that was the Treasury. Why? He's telegraphing to the whole country, to all of your listeners, Nino, everybody here, where is he anticipating the next big fight?
Financial.
Okay. And so now I go back to, let's say, Israel and some of the people that are attacking President Trump on the Iran stuff and all that. This is all tied together. Think of what's going on with Iran. Iran has injected itself into affairs all over the world. The Saudi Crown Prince, MBS, he said 7 years ago, told the whole world in an interview, he said, you have to understand what's going on with Iran. You can't be asleep about this. They're like doing things like Nazi Germany did under Hitler, that all of a sudden you wake up down the road and they want to take over the whole world. Iran, ever since the Shah fell and the mullahs came in, the Ayatollah, first off, and I'll tie this into Elon later. Help me remember to do that for you. It was 3-letter agencies out of Western intelligence operations in several governments, France, England, the US, that all worked together, tag team together with globalista, behind the scenes to get the Ayatollah into power in Iran. And for people that weren't alive at the time, what happened was the Shah had his own internal intelligence agencies, Savak. They got more and more scary and evil. They were evil in disappearing people and the tortures and everything else to try to identify some of the people who were trying to, overthrow the country. And then he got cancer, came over to the West and to get some medical treatment. And next thing you know, the country's falling. These guys, they leave town, and then that's when the coup happens.
One second.
And
Juanito, hold on 1 second. Those of you that have super chats, we're going to answer those in a second. Juan, let me just read this article real quick. I want to get through my morning show as we do this. Vance arrives at Capitol and GOP short votes to pass Trump mega bill. Now, Juan, this is, I only got about 20 minutes left in the morning show, so I want to kind of go through this quick. We could talk more about this on corner.tv, but I want to hit certain points on the morning show. We're gonna answer the super chats right now, folks, but in just a second. But Trump, now, Juanito, this now goes to the House. It looks like it's going to pass. What could we expect? Terror attacks? Are they going to try to do anything in their power to stop or delay this process?
Well, I think we always have to, be concerned that there could be stuff happening, but that's part of the reason why Trump had to get ahead of what's going on in Iran. The Iranian people, many of them, the Christian community there, has helped us to know who we had to watch out for in the sleeper cells. We picked something up, I think about 12 or so days ago, picked up just under 50 of the problem children right here in the U.S. that would be considered possibly lone wolves and like that. And a lot of that was with assistance and intel that have been being gathered for quite some time from people in Iran helping our intelligence units to identify potential lone wolves and people that had designs to cause chaos
So
here in
have we
America.
neutralized a lot of the
They got
threats?
picked up. They're not on the street now.
So have we neutralized a lot of the threats? Have we neutralized a lot of the threats in America right now? Or can we still expect a big event to happen that'll take us into a black swan event or something like that? Or do you feel confident that we're kind of out of the murky water on that and most of the threats have been neutralized?
Oh, I think it'd be presumptuous to say that all the threats are neutralized or even a significant number. We're on a path that we just have to continue to, head on a swivel. And by the way, my personal belief is we still have some dark days ahead. This is far from over. Literally, if the devil was able to pull it off, a near-death experience for America that would be more than a near-death, it'd be death. So, there's some drama ahead. I think we all have to be kind of aware of that. At the end of the day, it's the hand of God himself that's going to save us. And we'll all feel that.
This is David versus Goliath, and we are David, and we're fighting the machine.
Well, we're certainly, there's a global push against Americana, and these globalistas are far bigger than most people give credit to, and far more organized. They've had decades and decades and decades and decades and decades to, perfect their plans against us, because they do want a third world war, my opinion, a fourth world war. But that's the Albert Pike wet dream. He writes about it, in the 1800s, 3 world wars, the third one being a religious war based in the Mideast, Christians, Muslims, and Jews fighting each other. And the aftermath of that, then a symbiotic tying them all together with a new religion.
Chrislam.
Well, and led by their leader to create a one world government. And so, that's not out of the Bible. That's out of Morals and Dogma.
Right. We could talk more about that.
Albert Pike's book. So go ahead.
NinosCorner.tv. But let me read a couple more articles here, because in border news, Tom Homan confirms AOC is under federal investigation for helping illegal immigrants evade ICE. Mm-hmm. So do you think we could see people like AOC and the people that are helping these immigrants, can we see them get arrested, Juanito?
Absolutely. I mean, that's what we're preparing for right now on lots of levels.
All right. So I didn't want to say that, but you texted me the other day and said high level arrest. There's they're preparations are in order for high level arrest. Do you want to elaborate on that for FluffTube?
Well, you don't have to be guessing at it. Kash Patel, head of the FBI, has said, be prepared for high profile arrests. They're coming. And
this
on
year?
Multiple fronts, the Russia, much of it, we may see the first ones in just the next several weeks.
In the next several weeks?
Yep. I mean, that's the primary stuff. I believe.
Go ahead.
Well, hold on a second. I believe that the majority of what a lot of the listeners here are looking for doesn't happen until early mid-fall for a bunch of technical reasons. But
all right, Juan, this is
we could see some.
Yeah, we'll talk about that on .tv, Juanito, because that's dangerous stuff on FluffTube community guidelines and stuff like that. So we'll get into that. But so for them, no, but you could say this, to know that this is coming, they know that that it's very close, it's coming. They can feel them breathing on their neck. What do they need to do to delay or distract society or Trump from that happening? I mean, I would imagine they want to delay and distract.
Well, but that's what you and I have talked about behind the scenes. I've been telling you all the way along. And this is where there's not an understanding of this bigger strategy within Trump's behind the scenes operation that's not totally overt. Trump has been working diligently to remove the energy from all these various locations that could pull our, the limelight with media and like that away from what's got to happen here domestically with arrests on multiple levels. And so whether you're talking Ukraine, Congo, Mideast with Iran and Israel or Gaza, those things have to be neutralized in their enemy or greatly reduced so that they can't be sitting there waiting to be sprung on us at some critical moment when we're focused on the internal situation, recapturing the way that our economy works. And that's why when Trump put the fencing up around the Treasury, it wasn't so much that the threat to the Treasury was a terrorist attack. They're going to take out the building. No, it was symbolic. And who was the symbolism aimed at? It was aimed at the American people. It was aimed at the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is no more federal than Federal Express. Powell's over there and he's not dropping interest rates. And it's a huge brakes on the American economy when we've already got all sorts of issues going on. He's saying drop our interest rates down radically so we can function, cut the bullshit. Because the interest rates is related to allowing money to flow into industry and loans and things like that. And with this economy like it is, it's a huge break on production and commerce and factories and everything else. So Trump is signaling to this globalista crowd and to Powell himself, which Federal Reserve is part of a global operation of private groups that control economies all over the world by turning the interest rates up and down and the money supply on and off. And so Trump is sending a signal, I am going to defend the Treasury, which is constitutional, versus these outside forces. Trump, when he took the high ground of the White House against the Hill flag, we just got Mount Suribachi. The battle isn't done. So but I can tell you, we're winning, and we've got the this high ground, and we're coming for the rest of the swamp. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
so
then
Juan,
the symbology, even to, hold on, let me add one more thing. Even the symbology to alligator Alcatraz. Why? Because unlike Alcatraz in California, where they're going to
that was my next article.
You're
psychic or something, man. I don't know what's going on here. You're like right ahead of the ball.
Well, but here's the point. Alligator Alcatraz is within easy flight time. Multiple different types of aircraft, including the Osprey, which can use a airfield and also a marine aircraft carrier, a small one, that are parked down at Gitmo. They're about to begin moving huge volumes of people to Gitmo. Well, if you do it from Alligator Alcatraz, it's hop, skip, and a jump. And that location, you're not getting away from there. Look, there's no direction. You get out, you get loose, you can run, whatever. You're going to go through 50 miles of swamp with,
that's scary,
boa constrictors and caimans and, some animals and creatures that they haven't even documented yet are in there. All sorts of scary stuff that bites you and you go dead. And then, of course, the alligators and all that. So at the end, talk about the swamp. Forget the swamp up in D.C.
Liberals are losing their minds over this. Liberals are losing their minds over this.
Well, but again, let me add one extra thing. As I said, with the fencing around the Capitol and around the Treasury, and Trump putting the flags there at the White House on the lawn and having the army in there, he is propagandizing the other side. And people everywhere with certain imagery, with certain thoughts and ideas, and they have to do with this battle. And so he's using this imagery as part of the battle, hearts and minds things. And by the way, so we have lots of immigrants here in the country, or people that aren't here legally or have overstayed their legal stay, and they hear all of this about Alligator Alcatraz. And they know that people are going to be sent there and then put on aircraft and sent home wherever they are in the world. So they have a choice. Do I wait till I'm picked up and go to that location and get processed and sent home, or do I self-deport and avoid the hassle? Remember, I told you about my friend that
it's fear tactics to get them to self-deport, basically.
It's not. You can use the term fear tactics. It's just it's getting into their mind and giving them fair warning. This is what lies ahead. You can do it under your own volition and power, or you can do it this way. And by the way, if you get picked up, then you never get a chance to come back, because it's the rules are that if you're deported, then you're deported. You can't come back. If you leave on your own, you can reapply to come in. And a lot of these people want to come back. And we actually don't care that they want to. We want them to. They just have to come through the front door. And by the way, the people that are here illegally, then they're always looking over their shoulder. They're always vulnerable to somebody trying to take advantage of them, because they threaten them. I could call the police.
It's a life of paranoia. Juanito,
Right.
I have friends in El Paso. They're not showing up to work. They don't know what to do. They're staying in their apartments. They're like in this holding frozen pattern. And I gotta say, Juan, like flying in the airports, at least in Texas right now, is beautiful. There's less people at the airports. You got to think 50 million people, because that's the number I'm using. 50 million illegal immigrants are in a holding pattern right now. They can't go anywhere. They can't go to the airport. They can't fly. They can't drive without being paranoid of being stopped and deported. It is best they self-deport. And that's what Trump is trying to do right now.
Well, and if they self-deport, it's better for them and better for the country. And they have the option to come back. A lot of them want to come back. We want them to come back. If they want to come back and they aren't murderers, rapists, criminals, then
What about let's pivot just for a second. What about the Diddy sex trafficking trial that's happening right now? I mean, a lot of people are saying it looks like he's going to get off. I don't know what the
no, he isn't. No, he isn't. They've come back with 4 decisions, and if you look at what was within what was presented on those 4 decisions that they said they came to a decision on, Diddy lost. He's going away forever. He knows that. And the one that's left, I actually think, let me say how I think the jury on the remaining count, which was the conspiracy one, it's shown how they really were paying attention through the whole trial. Excuse me. That was the weakest of the charges. And not that it wasn't true, but they didn't prove it well. And so the jury is just not, so he'll probably get a hung jury on that specific count. And then because he's going to go away forever, he's never getting loose based on what they've already got. They may just decide not to go retry that. It'd be a huge expense and just let it go. And that's probably not wrong. And by the way, they can come back at it. There's other people, if you want to say there's conspiracy, okay. So there's other people that they can charge that have, even with information that's developed since the beginning of this trial, since the original grand jury indictment against Diddy.
And this is going to lead to
back at it from other levels, other locations, if they want to go for that.
This is going to lead to other big celebrities as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think about Jay-Z. I think about all these people that were around him. I mean, they've got to be terrified. All the people that went to the white parties. I mean, they're next. This is coming, right?
Well, and of course, the key thing within this trial was that he used intimidation to force a number of the players to participate, or he was going to, out them in certain ways and damage their career and like that. And, there's people that said, oh, poor Diddy, he wasted his whole career over lust. And no, he made his career on this. It finally all came to a head. He was always operating in this manner and the people around him. So it just all came to a head. So to say that he would have had any portion of the success that he had over time, had he not been operating this way, I think it's a falsehood.
All right, Juanito, I have to get ready to cut the feed here. Do you want to stick around for What the Fuck News and take some super chats? All right, folks, we're going to go to ninoscorner.tv after this and discuss the arrests, how we see them going down.
By the way, quick thing. Jennifer just posted her cookie contest, or the cookie contest over at thejennifermac.com. So it's only 30 days. If you got a cookie recipe, I'll go check the rules over there. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
So What the Fuck News? In What the Fuck News, suspect confesses to crucifixion murder of beloved U.S. pastor, planned to kill 14 more faith leaders. This is insane. A man accused of the gruesome murder of a beloved Arizona pastor recently confessed to the killing and told police he has plans to murder close to 14 other faith leaders. A CBN News reported Pastor William Bill Schnoneman was found in his New River, Arizona home in late April in a scene that was described as unsettling after the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office responded to the 911 call. Based on observations at the scene, it appeared there had been foul play, Maricopa Sheriff County Deputy Will Jinks said at the time. A 76-year-old appeared to have significant injuries and was reportedly posed with hands spread out and hands pinned to the wall like the crucifixion of Jesus. In June, the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office identified Adam Schief as a potential suspect after he was arrested on a separate charge from another law enforcement agency, Church Leaders reports. In an exclusive on-camera interview with Arizona's ABC 15, Schief detailed the gruesome killing and his plans to murder 14 other pastors all over the country, starting with Arizona. He went as far as having thrown crowns of thorns on their heads for the crucifixions, the outlet detailed, adding that he also planned to leave a copy of the 10 Commandments on each of his victims. This guy's sick. This guy's sick, but I understand why he doesn't like prosperity preachers, to be honest with you.
Well, I wouldn't even give him any momentum in that way. The reality is,
sick people.
This is a sick person, and they're all over the world. So,
you know what I've heard of Juanito? You know what I've heard from some Border Patrol friends here in the El Paso area? There's a lot of churches out there. There's a lot of them, big ones that have tunnels going right into them from Mexico. So that's what they're telling.
Again, let me just say this, that people can hide in plain sight and look totally normal, operate in a very normal way, and be very, very, very sick. The guy that killed the two politicians up in Michigan the other day had preached in churches, including in the Congo. And it is very disturbing. He had travel all over the world, but no real money. Where was the money coming from? And I think there's some 3-letter agency stuff there. But again, you can have people be in high places and they're very sick people. They have all sorts of weird issues.
I think that's where all the gravitate to, the high places of each other.
Well, they're mutually self-promoting oftentimes, and so they help each other get to high office right in plain sight. The killer BTR or whatever he was years ago that killed over a couple of decades, he was a deacon in his church, okay? You have people in high positions in churches that are, horrors. It doesn't matter, Protestant, Catholic, other groups. There's no, the Baptists, Mormons, there's no bad people can get into high position, and you cannot slime everybody that's there, because it's a cross-section of society. Look at all the monsters that get in high position in politics or Hollywood. We're just talking about Diddy. So there's constant vigilance required, and then part of that is that as we run into stuff where we find out things, is there a sense of ignored or put it away, or it's not my problem, or I don't know enough, or is there kind of somebody's got to step forward and address it at the critical moment?
I have to cut the feed. I have to get to the doctor's appointment. Let's read some super chats real quick. You good with that?
Sure.
All right, we got to keep this fast, folks. Keep these super chats fast. We're going to go through them really fast. Please ask Juan if Trump's huge win against CBS sets a precedent for being able to go after all MSM for manipulating.
Well, it certainly should send a shot across the bow for all these different groups. It's not a free-for-all anymore. Whatever they were getting away with, over the last few years, justice is coming. And that's part of the country returning to some level of sanity. If you're going to be wise, you have to have justice. The scripture is wisdom resides where there is justice. Wisdom resides where there is right thinking, righteousness, and action. So we're returning to some level of sanity. This free-for-all stuff that's been going on for quite a while, it's not going to happen that way again. And this is a perfect start.
All right, let's get to the next one. We've got to go through these quick. Danielle Repic, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate you and Juan. I'm always ready for 107 updates. Juan loves you too, believe me. Thank you, Danielle. Daniela. Sammy Q, thanks for all you do, Nino. You're doing amazing work. God bless you and your parents. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Billy West, thank you so much, Billy West. Anthony Hummer, Hillary, Uranium One, Mr. O, scale back of NASA, Elon plus DARPA's subsidies, Starlink, Iran, and North Korea used as deep state gun to the world's head.
Well, let me answer something that just was raised there. We never touched on. Just take 10 seconds. Remember, Elon's origins in many ways mimic Zuckerberg, and things were handed over to him because he was somebody's anointed person, that he was a willing partner to try and break away and go do other stuff, and then is vacillating back and forth between controllers and groups. Has a lot to do with everything behind the scenes, how Trump got to office, and the groups that are pushing him, and other groups that are inside the American system that have people that are the visible side of much bigger operations, and who they owe their allegiance to, or right. It's a behind the scenes game. A lot more going on there. But anyway, go ahead.
All right. Okay, Nino, please ask Billy West. Please ask one of cash saved. Should we put it in the bank? Will it be okay to use after the reset? How much time do we have? Also, how long until med beds come into public?
Okay, super short answer.
I gotta roll.
The stuff around the Treasury should tell you that things are happening. We're not going to go dead in the water, but the future is going to be a constitutionally operated money supply and system.
Well, what's going to happen
and as we transition? Say again?
What's going to happen to people's money in the bank?
Well, your money is not going to zero. The dollar's been declining against metals. They're diverging, and the value of dollar is going down. Of course, there's a lot of dollars out there hanging. This is why this interest rate thing is a big deal. But ultimately, it's just like what we did with the ruble. We did not destroy the ruble. It collapsed back. And that's what this globalista are trying to do is to bring the dollar down, not destroy it, and bring their operations, their currencies, BRICS and things like that up. The reality is what Trump did in the Mideast, even where there's this fight over what we should have done with Iran or not done. At the end of the day, Trump took control of the BRICS operation by doing a military deal with Saudi Arabia and with Qatar. And then they've decided not to become BRICS members. I'll talk and like that. And then there's parts of that go into the whole Iran thing with this world operation of Iran, choking them back. So
I hate to cut you off. I got to get to the doctor's office right now. I'm going to be late, so I got to get over there. Folks, thank you so much.
Mental issues, or what are they going to do? Brain transplant?
I got a lot of
Nino. I'm worried about you now.
They
can put electrodes in your ears. What are they doing?
I need it. I'll do it. At this point in my life, I will do it. All right, Juan, thanks for joining me. Juan, I'll see you at ninoscorner.tv, and we'll go over this in detail, folks, on ninoscorner.tv today. Right, Juan?
Yeah, sure.
All right, I'll see you in a little bit, Juan. Thank you so much for joining me. Everyone loves you, Juan. Go to thejennifermack.com, thejennifermack, and get to ninoscorner.tv right now, where we're going to continue this discussion and go into detail about the arrests. Juanito, thank you so much.
All right. Yeah, and AR 2025 coins coming out today, too. So anyway, good deal. Right. Talk to you later, Nino.
Folks. And the new heavyweight champion of podcasting and the black sheep of broadcasting. See you at ninoscorner.tv. We're going to be going over there as soon as